Today I fucked up by forgetting my webcam was on during a work call. So I work from home, and my team does these weekly check-ins. I usually just keep the camera off and stay quiet unless someone asks me something. Well, today I guess Zoom defaulted to camera on because of the update, and I had no idea. I was chilling in my hoodie, eating cold pizza straight from the box like some cave troll, half listening, half scrolling Reddit. At one point I leaned back, put the slice on my chest like a plate, and started picking at the cheese while lying almost flat in my chair. Apparently everyone saw the whole thing. My boss goes, "Are you comfortable there?" And I just froze. Looked at my screen, and sure enough my face, my greasy slice, my whole shameful posture was front and center. I panicked, and instead of turning off the camera like a normal human, I closed my laptop, which disconnected me completely. Had to awkwardly rejoin 5 minutes later and pretend my Wi-Fi crashed. They all know it didn't. Too long did not read. Left webcam on, ate pizza like a swamp monster during work call, became office meme. My boss has already made 2 pizza jokes in chat since then, so yeah, I'll never live this down. At least you weren't watching something worse when the camera came on. Cold pizza chest buffet is honestly pretty tame. Always tear a corner off a post-it note and keep it over your webcams, PPL. Edit. Use whatever material you want to, but most of us have a sticky note within reach at all times, and is probably more plentiful if you're taking it off for legitimate uses often. I'm sorry, this is so funny. As a boss, I wouldn't even be mad. This is just who we are when the doors are closed with company on the other side. Thank you for letting us in on your weirdness. It makes everyone else feel less weird for doing the same. Years ago, possibly Ian's, my large tech company had an open house day. Huge campus, every room was open, lots of people bopping around. One showcase piece was our distance-enabled meeting room with video conference capabilities. Again, ancient times. This shit was cutting edge. I was in my 20s. I was screwing around with a couple of other buddies, giving the finger to the camera, pretending to pick our noses. Stupid shit. Disembodied voice. Ottawa, we can see you. We froze. We blanched. We mumbled sorry and busted out of there. I was looking over my shoulder for HR for a couple of weeks. Cameras and mics, always treat them as if they are on. Also don't trust the mute button. Today I fucked up by ratting out my own mom to Greek customs when I was 9. This happened when I was 9, but it has never left my brain. My mom took me on a Mediterranean cruise, and one of the stops was Greece to visit family. My great-aunt gifted us some homemade olives, just a little bag in brine. Totally harmless, or so I thought. Customs for cruise passengers usually felt pretty relaxed in my memory. You are not dragging giant luggage around, just day trip stuff. Mom and I had breezed through before without issue. So when the officer asked, "Anything to declare, plants, animals, food, local products?" my mom smiled and said, "Nope." That is when my 9-year-old autistic self, unable to lie or keep quiet, loudly added, "But mom, what about the olives?" Instant mood shift. The officer perks up. Suddenly we aren't harmless tourists anymore. We are possible smugglers. We get pulled aside, bags opened, questions asked. My mom is scrambling to play it off like a silly mistake. And because I could not stop there, I also announced that we had fruit sticks. To me it was candy, but saying fruit sticks made it sound like smuggled produce. My mom had to fish them out and show they were just candy before the officers relaxed. I recall the customs agents being really kind despite being a bit tense, even laughing when I offered to eat the olives so we wouldn't get in trouble. Eventually they waved us through, but it felt like forever. And to this day my mom still teases me about being the world's worst partner in crime. Too long did not read. When I was 9, I loudly reminded my mom about olives and fruit sticks at Greek customs. We got pulled aside, and she barely smoothed it over. /kids are fucking stupid, winky face. My mom was pulled over for speeding once when we were young because she was trying to get us to stop fighting and didn't realize she was over the speed limit. The officer had asked if she's had anything to drink. My mom said no. My little sister pipes up from the back. "Yeah, you have." The officer stares at my mom, and she had to say Coca-Cola doesn't count, as she held up the pop can. Edit. It was a random check stop that police were pulling people over. My mom likes to tell the story of the time she took me, 3 years old, into the USA to go shopping. On our way home, Border Patrol asked, "Do you have anything to declare?" I quickly piped up from the back seat with a loud, "I got new shoes," before kicking them together to make them light up. Apparently the agent waved us through while looking like he was trying to not laugh. Not quite the same, but your story reminded me of something that happened when I was quite young. One time my dad was pulled over for speeding. Being young, I misunderstood how traffic stops worked, so when my dad pulled out his wallet to get his ID, I assumed he was paying for the ticket on the spot. Then a few months later, my mom was pulled over. While the officer was at the window, I said something like, "Mom, why don't you just do what Daddy does and give the cop some money so he goes away?" My father had a similar experience, but without kids. He was flying to the US and brought some salami from Hungary as a gift. He forgot that he is not supposed to bring it and declared it while on the airplane, in the form that you have to fill out. At the customs they asked him what it is. Daddy said it is just salami. The inspector was very understanding. He said he is sorry he has to confiscate it. Then he turned around and shouted to his colleagues, "Guys, I've got Hungarian salami." Someone was happy in the evening. "So, did they let you keep the olives?"